guys, we are doing a inspection behind another company, and they came out and said the unit was all in bad shape. Came up with $5,000 worth of stuff he needed to do. The company he was using got bought out by one of the larger big box companies, and oh well. They were coming out doing just fine. He was happy with them, and then the first time they came out after being taken over by the other company, he suddenly gets a list of things that need to be done, or the system's going to leave him stranded. So anyway, I've got it off at the thermostat, just doing a quick visual. They didn't do a good job cleaning it. I can see the dirt down in here and down in the bottom. And that's what they were here to do. It's just a straight air conditioner and a coil, so I don't know how you come up with $5,000 worth of repairs on a unit that the homeowner says is working just fine. It made it through that heat wave without any issues. So I'm going to start with the capacitor, and I'm just going to do a visual, and then I'm going to check capacitors, which I've got the power turned off over there to disconnect, and then we're going to turn it on and run it and see what it does. But this is just another example of big companies buying the small companies, and then they send somebody out under new management, and suddenly your unit that's been working fine needs a whole list of repairs. So we got a 45 by 5 capacitor reading 45 by 5. Yep, so that's good. I hope they didn't put that on the list of things he needs to get fixed. They didn't do a great job cleaning it, so they ain't gonna tell them what they're gonna put. They're just trying to, they try to instill some fear in you with those big high repair numbers. Spook you into getting a new system when you don't need one. So all these wires are tight. Let me check the contactor. And I mean, we got a little bit of scorching in there, a little bit, maybe some arcing. Points on it are a little pitted. I mean, we'll see what the voltage drop is across it, if there is one, when I run it, but I'll let him know about that. Maybe the capacitor is okay. The contactor might need a little attention. The wires are tight. I'm gonna get the top off of it and inspect this motor real quick, see if we got any oil leaking from the bearings, anything like that. Alright, I got the top off of it, and to be honest, that doesn't look all that bad to me. That's the original motor. A little bit of oil residue on there. It's not horrible. You get a little bit of that. We'll see what the amp draw is on it when it's running, see how hot it gets. I'll check it with a, oh, sorry, the damn camera was shooting up in the air. Oh, I got my new GoPro. I got the GoPro 11. I didn't go up to the 12. Got a good deal on this one. Got it for about $100 off regular price. And tested it and ran it for about 20 minutes straight on the back deck in sunlight, and it doesn't get as hot as the old one did. So we'll see how this one works. But anyway, this is not looking anything out of the ordinary, so we'll check the amp draw on it and see how it performs when we get it running, see how hot it gets. So I'm gonna put this top back on, and we're gonna shoot up in the attic. I'll spin this motor real quick, see how free it is. Usually if you got a problem with your bearings or your motor seizing or being in pretty bad shape, you'll turn it and it'll maybe go around one time and stop, or a time and a half or something like that. This is pretty normal. Not seeing a problem with the motor. Alright guys, so now we're up in the attic. It's got a Burmese mountain dog or whatever those things are, big black thing, like a almost like a Saint Bernard. Beautiful dog, very protective. But we're up in the attic now, so we're gonna go do some more visuals up here. I've turned it off, so we got a carrier furnace here in the coil. Like I said, they were out doing the AC maintenance, and it don't look to me like they cleaned a whole lot. This drain line has no clean out on it. You can't see where it's been cut or they probably maybe pulled a vacuum outside. If they did, I hope they put a cap on this thing. It's not very tight, but I can't really. It's a little dark down in there, but let's see what the coil looks like. And they didn't seal anything back. These are actually my favorite case coil. These doors are pretty easy to go on and off. It is aluminum. Does it look real bad? We get a light. We get a light. So it doesn't look bad in there. The drain pan doesn't look horrible. There's some gunky rust right down in there though. Let's see how that. Yeah, could have poured a little cleaner in there and rinsed that, flushed that pan out a little bit better. If they even did at all, I don't know. But let's see what it looks like in here. Dry, not very tight. You could get a drip on that, being loose like that. This is not very tight either, so that goes back to install more than anything else. It's been this way for 10 years. But the line set sealed up pretty good. It's not dry rotted or anything like that. It's not any sign that there's been any water in the pan anytime soon. A little drip there from this drain trap sweating probably. But other than that, it's pretty good. I'm not seeing any oil looking residue on here anywhere. I don't know if this is the original coil or not. Yeah, 101. It's 2014, so it's 10 years old. So this is, my goodness, the original coil. Aluminum. 10 years old. I wish Train could do this. Make an aluminum coil that lasts 10 years. That would be nice. So let's look inside the furnace. Let's get the door off. It didn't help they ran this gas line right in front of the thing. It's just an install thing, doesn't affect the operation. It is grounded like it's supposed to be here. They want them bonded in, so that's our code. It is what it is. They could have brought this thing over here. They're using the track pipe, gas tight. What is this? I ain't got my glasses on, but anyway, it's a flexible corrugated pipe with the insulation on it. But they could have brought that down over here and then come under the bottom, but it is what it is. It doesn't affect the operation. Nothing in here has been cleaned anytime soon that I can see what that mess is. In there. Yeah, they don't have a real high standard when it comes to cleaning things. And like I said, they were here on the cool check, so this was done in February, he said, when they did the heating on it. So I'm not going to do a full service or check. I'm just here to kind of do a second opinion on some things and see if what I come up with jives with what they came up with. and so far it is not. I haven't gotten above $300. They were around $5,000, so we'll see what it does when I turn it on. But he made it through that 7-week heat wave with no problem, setting it on 72 degrees. So I would think that would have been an issue. What kind of filters he runs? This little dusty back there inside the plenum. I don't know what. I mean, he's got a dog, but I don't know what kind of filter he runs. But let's see, is there any oil residue on this motor? I'm not feeling any up there. And usually if it's down here in the bottom, you'll see where it'll drip down onto the cabinet. I'm not seeing that. No, I'm not going to pull the whole blower assembly out. If I feel anything on the shaft, no, it's dry. So let's check that. So let's see what our capacitor is checking out at. We are getting 7.14. So I have to assume that we are looking at a 7.5 capacitor. And it's probably been replaced because these carrier, the reason that slot is in there is for the lip of this capacitor to fit into when you close this thing down. Yep, it's 7 point, it's dented in too. Big old crease. Right across here, it's got a dip in it. So, I bet that's from these divots. Yeah, see these little divots in this thing? Pressed up against this capacitor and pushed it in. So I'm not... So I will let him know that that's probably an issue. So now we're up to about $450 roughly. I'm not seeing 5,000 yet. We'll check the amp draws on these motors and check that refrigerant charge. That's about the only thing left on the AC maintenance that would get up to $5,000. You need a new coil or you need a new compressor. And I'm guessing that's not going to be the case because they wanted to sell a new system. Alright, those are on there tight. I'm going to put this door back on. We're going to check the amp draw on this motor. Alright guys, so I've got it in a call for cooling. The outdoor disconnect is still off. I'm just checking the blower. I wanted to check it with the door off. So I am checking it around our line voltage wire coming off here. So I was able to get a picture of the motor sticker. And our motor is, you can see that, 7.9 amps. We are at 7.3, and some of that is going to be from the transformer and the thermostat. So we're probably right at about 7.1 or so. So The amp draw on the motor is fine, especially for a 10-year-old motor. So let's get this thing on outside and check the refrigerant charge and see if we come up with a major problem. Actually, they didn't even glue that on. So I can go ahead and, as a show of good faith, snug this up for him. It hasn't had a problem yet, I suppose, but I have a thing with drain lines that not being done right. I mean, I'm not going to glue that on, but at least that's tight anyway. Alright guys, we are back outside. I've got it on. I'll get some gauges hooked up to it. Let it stabilize while I'm doing that. And this is just one of those things. I told him not to tell me what the other company found, what they were recommending. I didn't want to know that. I wanted to do it my own. And that's kind of how I am. Sometimes they call us and then there's a copy of a invoice and it's got everything listed. I'll look at it. But in this situation, I didn't ask him. I just said, just let me run it and check it. He just said, all I can tell you is the recommendations that they were making came into the thousands. And that's what the problem was. He was using another company that had been here for years. They were a train dealer. This obviously isn't a train, but they finally, I guess, they sold off, and the owner sold their business, and they sold it to a larger corporate national type company. I won't mention their name, but and then it just seemed like it was night and day the next time they came out. Still working under that name. Currently will probably get changed over to what the new company's name is, but there was night and day difference of what was going on. It was clean better, he said. And you see well, I've got it back on now. I'll do an image shot real quick and show you the dirt in the bottom of this unit. You see it down in here, down in there. You just noticed a difference in what had happened, the change between the original company when it was the original owners and then what had happened since it was bought out. And suddenly out of nowhere, they've been coming out and checking it each year and everything's been running fine. Maybe a a loose wire or the capacitor thing, but he said it's never broken down on him other than the capacitor in 10 years. And then now they come out for their first visit under the new ownership, and they're recommending all this stuff he needs, and then telling him it's not worth putting the money into this thing. He should replace the unit. So basically a scam. That's how those big companies work. So you live around my area, you watch the news in the morning on our NBC affiliate, especially. The commercial breaks are full of those businesses. Come out, $49 tune-up. And when they leave, they want $5,000 worth of recommendations, or they'll give you a free furnace with a new air conditioning system. You ain't getting a free furnace. That's built into the price, I can promise you. Or they tell you they'll give you $1,700 cash back on your old system to replace it with a new system. They're not giving you $1,700 for your old equipment. They can't use it anywhere anyway. They're building that into the price, I can promise you. So the people that fall for those gimmicks, they just need to do your research. 59 degree superheat. We've got almost a 33 degree subcooling, and we've got a TXV inside. So, got about a 73 degree return. Let's see what kind of supply temperature we've got. The supply temperature may drop right on down because that coil is cold as all get out. See how far down it goes. So we've got a 20 degree split on it. But that coil is cold as, now we're down to 51. Now we're at 22 degrees. Getting ready to be at 23. Probably get right on down to 24, which is just way too high. That coil, let's take this door off and see if that TXV is starting to frost. Alrighty, so now we're down to 50. It's not frosting. Sorry about the wind noise, but all my U-bends are sweating.